final week of getting my legacy organized. Over the past few weeks, we've organized photos, videos, documents, and created stories that bring your family history to life. Today we're going to talk about how to bring all these elements together and preserve your legacy in a way that makes it accessible for future generations. We'll also explore ways to share it with your family and ensure that all the hard work you've done is protected for years to come. So let's do a little recap of what we've covered so far in the past few weeks. So in week number 1, we talked about photos, and we talked about organizing, scanning, and tagging your family photos, making sure they are digitized and categorized. We talked about the ABCs of sorting, and we talked about some of the scanners that you can use if you want to DIY. And we also talked about how you can go to have someone else digitize your items. Then in week number 2, we talked about videos, audios, and documents. We explored how to digitize old media formats, especially those things that you might not have the technology to do. We also organized important family records such as birth certificates, marriages, and licenses, and other important documents in your family. And then finally, last week, we talked about creating stories. We began crafting stories behind those photos and videos and documents, giving them context and meaning, and how AI can help you. Here's one of the things that I think is most important to remember. It doesn't have to be a huge project. It can just take one step at a time. So if you allot that 15 minutes a day, each day of your calendar, in a year, you're going to have spent more than 91 hours on your project. Even if you do it every second day, you're going to have worked over 45 hours on your project. And that's a lot of work. So it doesn't have to be complicated. Now let's talk about how to bring everything together. Your photos, videos, documents, and stories. Think of your legacy as a beautifully crafted quilt with each element representing a different patch. The key is to stitch these patches together in a cohesive narrative that's easy to understand and meaningful for those who will receive it. One way to do this is by creating a digital archives or physical collection that stores all of these elements in one place. For example, you could create a digital family history book that includes written stories, scanned documents, photos, and links to videos. You could put together a physical album or scrapbook that combines printed photos with written narrative, or you can do what I have done, and that's creating a family archives, at least that's what I call it, in forever. The format you choose depends on your personal preferences and what you think will resonate most with your family. Once you've organized your legacy, it's time to share it with your family. The way you share will depend on your audience. For some, a printed book or album might be the most meaningful. For others, especially the younger family members, a digital format might be more engaging. For printed photo books, these are great for older relatives who may prefer something physical. Creating a printed photo book or album is a great option. These make wonderful gifts, especially for birthdays, anniversaries, or holidays. So in this slide, you can see that I'm showing a little snippet of the book that I created for my dad. I got him to record all of his family stories. Well, not all of his stories, but he did make me 6 recordings of stories. And then I made a book that included that QR code that will link directly to him telling those stories. And then the book is made out of photographs and some of the information that he mentioned in those recordings. So tip when you're making a book about your family, include a brief family tree or timeline at the beginning of the book to provide context for the photos and stories that follow. In the case of a digital archives or a family website, sometimes they're perfect for the tech-savvy family members. A digital archives can be the easiest way to share large collections of photos, videos, and documents. Services like Google Drive, Dropbox, and Forever allow you to create shared folders where family members can download, view, or contribute to the archives. Here are a couple of tips. Create a family access guide that explains how to navigate the archives. Include a table of contents or index to help family members find specific photos or documents. And my second suggestion is include a blog section or album where family members can contribute their own stories or memories to keep the website active and evolved. And on this slide also you'll see that I just put a little snippet of what I call an album that I call the Thompson-Middleborough genealogy. And it includes all the things that I've collected from my parents, and it's just one of the albums that I have in my entire genealogy album. Preserving your legacy for the long term is just as important as organizing and sharing it. For physical preservation, consider using archival quality material for any documents, photos, or memorabilia you decided to keep in physical form. Acid-free photo albums, archival boxes, and protective sleeves are all good investments. Also store these items in cool, dry places to prevent deterioration over time, and don't forget to make digital copies of these physical items as an additional layer of preservation. So these are some of the things that I've used for my own collection. After I scanned my photos, I put them in archival boxes similar to the one on the left. You can also find kind of cardboard version of them at IKEA, and you can find all sorts of preservation boxes on Amazon. This is on the right hand side is something called a safe, and I've included a link to those in the handout. They come in various sizes, and this one that I have is fireproof, and it's just a way of perhaps preserving or protecting those really special things that you have in your collection. Of course, we've covered quite extensively the digital preservation. One of the best ways to ensure your digital files are safe is to use a reliable cloud storage service. As we discussed earlier in this series, platforms like Forever are designed with long-term preservation in mind, but there are other options as well, like Google Drive or Dropbox. Whatever platform you choose, make sure you have a plan for keeping your files backed up and accessible. And it's important to look at the terms of service for whatever site you choose. In my own case, I liked Forever because you are preserving your things for your lifetime plus 100 years, and you're actually purchasing the site and the drive space that you're using on Forever, and so it is private and there's no data mining. So that's why I like it. Creating your legacy isn't a one-time task, it's an ongoing process. As new family members are born, as milestones are reached, and as new stories emerge, you'll want to update your collection to reflect these changes. That's why it's important to create a plan for maintaining and updating your legacy over time. Set aside some time each year to review and update your files. You might add new photos, you might add videos or stories, or you reorganize your digital archives to make it more accessible. Because sometimes it's an ever-changing thought process for yourself. If you're managing a family tree, keep it up to date with new births, marriages, and other significant dates. By making regular updates part of your routine, you'll ensure that your legacy remains current and meaningful. You might want to consider adding a monthly reminder to your calendar. Finally, let's talk about involving the next generation in preserving and continuing your family legacy. One of the most effective ways to ensure your legacy lives on is to actively engage your children, grandchildren, and other younger family members in the process. Encourage them to contribute their own stories, photos, and videos to the family collection. You might even consider assigning them specific tasks like managing the digital archives or creating a video project about a family event. By involving them now, you're not only preserving the past, but you're also fostering a sense of ownership and pride in your family history that you can carry forward. Now, they talk about this, they have researched this quite extensively, and it has shown that children that are involved in family history, in their family history, have a greater sense of belonging, and that's always a good thing. One of the things I recently did is I started scanning all of my mom's handwritten recipes, and I put them in an album that my nieces and nephews and brothers and sister-in-laws can all access. So they are able to access the folder or the album, and they can download any of the recipes. They can also upload. So I asked them, if you do make one of the recipes, please take photographs and share them in the album. Recently, my brother sent me a photograph of a jar of beets that my niece had made, and from my mother's recipe for pickled beets, and my brother said it tasted just like Mom's. So that will definitely be in the album and part of the recipe book that I ultimately hope to print. And that brings us to the end of Getting My Legacy Organized. Over the past 4 weeks, we've covered a lot of ground, from organizing photos and videos to creating and preserving stories. I hope you found this journey as rewarding as I have, and that you're feeling confident in your ability to protect and share your family legacy for generations to come. Remember, your legacy is a gift to your family, a way to connect them with their roots and pass on the values, experience, and memories that make your family unique. Keep working on it, keep updating it, and most importantly, keep sharing it. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I'm here to support you every step of the way, so don't hesitate to reach out to me if you need help or have questions in the future. One final thing, as a gift to you, I put in the handout, and you'll find the same link in the email I sent out to you after this session, is a download to a digital asset list. This is a 6-page document that you can type in, and it covers all aspects of your life. I encourage you to fill it out and then keep it in a safe place, like your safety deposit box, or like I do, in an album called When I Die, or wherever you keep your important documents, so that other people will be able to access that information. I have a favor to ask of you as well, and that is to answer a few questions that I have about what you thought of this 4-week event. I'll be sending some questions that I hope you'll be so kind as to answer, as this will help me decide how I continue with this in the future. Thank you for joining me, and have a great day.